Take it here. Hello, I hope everyone can hear me and see me well. Please comment something in the chat if you can hear us, if you can see us.
And welcome, by the way.
Well,
to keep it a very friendly environment. All right, that seems to be working.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen as well. I'm going to start the keynote. So normally you should see now online webinar recruiting on Facebook and Instagram. Let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Stephanie. I'm the marketing lead at Simple, and next to me stands Mark. He's one of the founders of Simple. We're here to listen why you should recruit on Facebook and Instagram. What should you pay attention to when preparing? How do you set up a campaign? And how do you measure, of course, the results? Also, some housekeeping. On the right of your screen, you can see that there is a chat available. You can ask questions during the webinar. Please don't hesitate to ask them. We're here to help you out. And we're also going to launch some polls over there to make it a bit more interactive because there are lots of people listening and we want to see which audience is actually listening to us.
Let's make that a bit more clear.
Yes.
My only role here is to answer questions. So if you're not going to ask questions, I have nothing to do, right? I'm going to be very bored. So please, please, please ask questions, comments, things you want to talk about. We want to make this very interactive.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Good.
Okay. What is not on the agenda today, just to make things very clear, we're not going to talk about free and organic recruiting on social media. We're talking about paid recruitment campaigns on Facebook and Instagram. Data-driven recruitment, we've done a webinar about that. You can find it on our website. You can see the recordings over there. And what is a great working ad? We're going to do a workshop about that maybe in the next couple of weeks. But this is not a topic that we're going to discuss today. All right. Now, what do we do at Simple? Well, we provide qualified candidates and we focus on passive candidates. I will explain this a bit more to you later. We do this through very targeted advertising on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and also a bit of LinkedIn. And we do this in a user-friendly process. We've built a software customized for online recruitment. Now, why should you believe us? Well, here you see some proven results.
Because we say so.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
No, Mark, because we are data-driven.
And it's a free webinar, and people shouldn't complain, okay?
And so here you can also see some of our customers. Normally, we fill in over 82% of our vacancies from our customers, and we analyze 11 million data points per month. This is a lot. We have some algorithms behind it to optimize the campaigns in the best way. Now, first of all, maybe we should launch a poll to see who already has done a paid recruitment campaign on Facebook and Instagram. So through Facebook Ads Manager.
So if you should see the poll on the right-hand side on the tab where you can answer yes or no to that question. And maybe important step to explain. When we talk about Facebook, we talk about the whole platform, including Instagram.
Yeah, including Instagram, including Messenger, including Audience Network. Audience Network is a network of Facebook from websites and applications where you can also advertise through Facebook Ads Manager.
All right. Well, some good interaction there. Thanks for voting. We have about 70-30 split. And the good news is we have good information for both of you, right? We're going to keep it top line, but we also go a bit deeper sometimes in objectives of the campaign and settings, what you should be focused on. We're going to share all our secrets with you.
Yes, definitely. All right. Now, why should you start recruiting on Facebook and Instagram? Well, 20% of the job seekers is actively looking for a job, and they're looking on Google, on job boards, on LinkedIn, but 80% of the working population is not actively looking for a new job. And you have to convince them with your recruitment advertising on Facebook and Instagram. On average, a person scrolls 160 meters a day on Facebook and Instagram, which is really, really a lot. So There are every day they're available, so you have to pop out with your vacancy ad to convince them to apply, of course. So, okay, before we can actually start making our campaign, there are some recruitment marketing basics that you need to know, that you need to keep in mind to have the best results of your campaigns. And to make it a bit more visible, you have a funnel. A funnel is actually some steps that a person takes for before you come to a hire. And here you see all the steps from the recruitment funnel. First of all, you have an application. A person applies for your vacancy. Then you have the selection process, and this is different, of course, in every company. You can make different steps of it. And then, well, hopefully you come to a hire. But before the recruitment funnel, you want to attract people. And this you can do with the marketing funnel. You have different steps also in the marketing funnel. The first one is the discover phase. In the discover phase, you won't show your vacancy yet. You will show some blogs, some topics about the function that you're looking for. For example, if you're looking for someone in construction, then you can write about the trends of 2020 about construction, and the people that click on that ad, well, they must be working in construction. In the engage phase, you won't show your advertising, your specific advertising for the job vacancy yet, but you will show something more specific about, are you looking for a new opportunity, looking for a new job, looking for a new challenge? The person that click on that advertising, you will know that they are looking for something new. And then in the attract phase, there you will show your specific advertising with the job function, with the location, with the company itself, to attract the people to come to your website. And this is important to keep in mind, that both the funnels, the marketing and recruitment funnel, well, it works both ways and it's linked to each other. Because of course you're paying for recruitment campaigns on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and you want to know where something goes wrong. If you don't have enough applications, if you don't have enough clicks in the attract phase, it's important to keep an eye on this funnel to optimize in the best way.
So before we go on, we is there a prize for the first question? Do we hand out something?
Let's see.
Let's think about that. Olivier, you've won the virtual gold medal for the first question. And the question from Olivier is, which social media channel do you need per age segment? So in youngsters in their 20s, are they still on Facebook? Basically, or should you go on Instagram?
Yeah. Well, what we do is we test everything. So if you have a junior audience, then you can test it on Facebook feed, on Facebook stories, on Instagram feed, and on Instagram stories. It will always depend on how good your advertising looks, if you have a strong brand, where your audience, on which platform they are. So I can't say like for that age range, you need to be on Facebook, and for that age range, you need to be on Instagram. No, you have to test it, because for every function, for every company, it's totally different.
Yeah. I mean, I think the demographics are there, obviously, that more younger people are using Instagram, but also still Facebook. And it will depend a bit on, what kind of campaign are you running? And also, how does that visually fit within the segment? But we're going to be talking about testing and how you test Facebook versus Instagram a lot more in the rest of the presentation.
Yes. All right. Thank you for the first question. Then there is some preparation that you need to do before you can actually start building your campaign. And the first one, and I think this is the most important one, is that you have to define your target audience. And what we recommend is to think about it before you dive into Facebook Ads Manager, because Facebook Ads Manager has lots of options to build your ideal audience. So you have to think first about what are the skills that they need to have? What are the requirements? Where do they have to live? Do they have to have a degree or not? And which one? So think about that before you dive into Facebook Ads Manager. And then in Facebook Ads Manager, you have to choose some options. And the first one is, well, you have to choose the location where they need to live. For example, if you're looking for an account manager in, let's say, Paris, then you can target Paris with a radius around it. And we recommend to take like 20 kilometers around the location. It depends a bit of the type of function. But this is a recommendation of us. 20 kilometers is a good radius to select.
Maybe to elaborate on that,
Yes.
Stephanie, because what's important is that obviously everybody says, I want people who are living less than 5 kilometers around my company. But what you'll learn also today is that you need to give the Facebook algorithm a bit of space to look for the right candidates. Because if you go, for instance, let's say 5 kilometers around your location, it's going to limit severely, that was the word I was looking for, the possibilities of testing different audiences. So it's actually better to kind of go a bit wider, a bit broader than what you actually need, especially in the beginning, so you can actually do some testing and start learning what you need and what the audience is you're looking for.
Yes, definitely. Then the second one are the interests. Facebook has lots of interests to choose from. And this is important to know. These are not only interests that people, for example, pages that they like on Facebook itself, but Facebook will also see at the data of the whole internet. So the pages that they visit, the things that they're searching for, it's all in the interests in Facebook Ads Manager. So for example, if you're looking for a digital marketeer, then you can choose the interest digital marketing, and then Facebook will give you some suggestions of other interests that they might like as well. So for example, Google advertising, Facebook advertising as a digital marketeer, these are interests that these are sites or topics that you're searching for on the internet. But what the most important thing is for defining your target audience is data. Facebook loves data, so do we at Simple. And the more data you shoot back to Facebook, the more Facebook will optimize your campaign and the best and the most performing campaigns you will have. So if you already have done recruitment campaigns in the past, then your cost will also be cheaper than if it's the first time that you're doing a campaign. We at Simple, we gathered lots of data already because we've done over 6,000 recruitment campaigns now. So we have lots of data from different job functions. But it's important to know that in Facebook Ads Manager, you can't choose, okay, I want the function account manager with 3 till 5 years of experience. That's something you can't choose, but you can build audiences with data that you collect on your website.
Wait, Steph, before you go to the next slide, there's one thing I think I just want to make sure everybody understands, and maybe you'll explain that later. So although now maybe hit me if that's the case. But on the interests, there are so many interests and possibilities in Facebook that it's really important that you actually, before you open up Ads Manager and looking at every possibilities, think about yourself. What is it actually that you're looking for? Because it's better to sit down with your team or with your colleagues and thinking, look, what might be interesting for us as a candidate, and put that on paper first, and only then start looking at what Facebook can offer you. Because the big danger is that you get carried away with the millions of possibilities. You start clicking, and that's not going to help your targeting. So it's better to get it clear in your head. What is it you want? And then start building the targeting on that.
That was actually the introduction of this slide that I gave.
Sorry.
But it's okay, because it is really important to give a recap.
All right, good. There you go.
All right.
Wait, we have a second question.
Yes.
And that's why I was confused, because I was actually reading the questions. What ads call in Facebook Ads Manager would you prefer to gain more interest of employees?
Sorry, what was it?
What ads call in Facebook Ads Manager would you prefer to gain more interest of employees? I think it's about the objective of the campaign, which we'll probably explain later.
Yeah, we will come back to it later.
Yeah, and then another question from Ineke: are interests only specific things that people literally add to their profile, or it's also based things that people like, events that they attended? Very good question.
That's a very good question. And no, it's not only what people like on Facebook or what is linked to their profile. It's actually the experience that people do on the internet as a whole. So Facebook gathers also the data of all the websites that people are visiting, the keywords that they are searching for in Google. Everything is gathered in the database or the data collection of Facebook. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so this is how you set it up in Facebook Ads Manager. But like I already said, it's difficult to select a specific function with some years of experience. But let me just show you, well, let Mark show you how we do it in our software.
Yeah, and maybe still not click yet, because that's important. And again, just going to build on what Steph has said already about the data. The more you advertise, the more you test, the more data you will get that you can start building on, right? And what we have done here is actually looking at the 6,000 campaigns and use that data to make the future campaigns better. You can just click it now. So let's assume you're looking for a barista in New York. In our software, you'll be able to actually start looking at similar functions, in this case, hospitality. And we will then use the data of all other hospitality functions we have done in the past to fine-tune and optimize this campaign. And in this case, you can also, within our software, very easily, without all the difficulties that Facebook Ads Manager actually has, because it's not an easy tool. So we actually simplified that part on one hand, and secondly, we use the data from all the past campaigns that we have. And again, whether you use our software or not, I leave that entirely up to you. But the quicker you start gathering data, the better your future campaigns will be. Mm-hmm. That's really important to keep in mind. And we won't go into operating system 14.5 of Apple and the impact it has on your campaigns on Facebook in this webinar. We have another one coming up to talk about that. But that's a great example of actually not relying too much on the own data of Facebook, but start gathering your own data, right? Your own understanding of your customers and your visitors, because that you can keep yourself. Whatever happens in the outside world, that's data you can keep for yourself.
Mm-hmm. All right, so once you've defined your target audience, what we recommend is to do a bit of research about the competition. And we're not talking about the competition of your company. And this is a really important one, because Facebook is a bidding platform and you're bidding against the competition that also wants to reach your target audience. So you're competing against people that also want to reach your audience. And what we recommend there is to have a look at Facebook Ads Library. Mark will send you the link as well, but I will go live immediately to the Facebook Ads Library. Let me just see. There you go. So here you can search for any company and you can see which ads they are running. So maybe you can put some companies in the chat of the audience, so I can search for a company and see if they are running ads right now. Let me just see. All right.
Let me check the chat.
Yes.
Adecco. That's an interesting.
All right. Let's see. Adecco Netherlands, I will take for now. All right, so you will see their Facebook page, you will see their likes, you will see their Instagram page. And then here you will see all the advertisements that they launched in October. So you can see their the visuals that they use, the copy that they've written, the call to actions. You can see on which platforms they do their advertising. Here is Facebook, Instagram, and Audience Network. They're not doing it on Messenger. But you can see everything, which ads they are running.
At this moment, that's important.
At this moment.
So it's not past, it's really what they're running now.
Okay, let's do maybe one more.
Okay, this the brand I never heard of, Sunday. Let's see if Sunday is running some ads.
Is Sunday World? No.
No, let's do 11 more advertisers. Click on that.
Which one?
Click here, maybe they're there. Let's say Sunday is good. Let's try that. Maybe it's this one. Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's probably not this one. Okay, let's try one more.
Yes, let's try one
Berenschot. Berenschot.
Is it Beerschot?
No, it's not. It's not a football.
Okay,
They like this,
Beerschot.
yes.
There you go.
I'm sure they've heard that joke many times before.
They're not.
They don't have
they're
any
not-
ads running at the
no.
moment.
Okay.
Okay, but I'll paste
Yes.
the link in the chat.
Yes.
As long as you promise not to go looking and playing around with it now, stick with the webinar, please. But here's the link.
Yes. So this is an important one to have a look to see what the competition is doing. It can give you some inspirations to write your advertisements or to build your advertisements. Okay.
Sorry,
Yes.
just one question from you, and I'll take that question.
Mhm.
So the question is simple, a Belgian company? Yes, we are. We're proudly located in the center of the world, i.e. Antwerp, and our data is actually from international campaigns. So we're currently active in about 7 countries, mainly in Belgium, admittedly, but we're also in Poland, Italy, France, Germany, and a couple of other European countries. But the beauty of Facebook actually is that it doesn't really matter where you run your campaigns. If you set up your campaigns properly, and of course you take into account the local needs, you can easily run international campaigns from Belgium, as we do, and even use data from Belgian campaigns and learn from that and actually apply that in Germany, for instance. So let's say you've run vacancies for technical profiles engineers in Belgium. You can use the data from that and actually learn from that and make your campaigns for engineers in Germany work better. Okay.
All right. Like we already said, we've done already lots of recruitment campaigns, and we want to share some tips and tricks, what we've learned about how to make attractive advertisement for recruitment campaigns. The first one is use authentic pictures. And this is really an important one because you can search for stock images on the internet, but Facebook will know that these are stock images. So just take pictures with your smartphone. You don't have to hire a professional photographer. Just take pictures of the employees, of the people that are working in your company, in your office. Take a picture of the building, maybe if it's an attractive building. But use authentic pictures. The second one is use uniform communication. And what do I mean by that? Well, you have to make it clear to the audience which type of function you're looking for. In this case, it was the first one here, you can see on the slides. It was for Nationale Loterij, which is a Belgian company, and they were searching for a sales representative. And as you can see, that the colors that we use to make the job function clear are the same colors as their logo. So we use their branding colors. We made it uniform in the whole picture. And then what is also important is that on the vacancy page, you use the same branding colors that you use on your picture. And that you also use your picture, for example, on the vacancy page, because Facebook will not only see at the attractiveness of your advertisement, but you will also have a look at the vacancy page, at the website at the website that you're targeting. Yes, that your ad is on. So
you're saying your vacancies on.
Yes.
My bad.
So this is really important that that you have a look that the communication on your advertisement and on your vacancy page is a bit the same. And then the third one, you can search for lots of best practices of Facebook itself on the internet. But there is an important but. What we recommend is that you have to test everything. For example, if Facebook says that video is working better than a picture, well, what we see is that you have to test it. It can be that a video is working better than a picture for some job functions, but it can also be that a picture is working better for some other job functions. And it all depends on also the competition that is competing against your audience. It depends on which month we are. It depends on all different aspects. So what we recommend is to test everything. All right. Then these are some technical stuff that you need to keep in mind. If you upload pictures for newsfeed and for stories, these are different dimensions. You can also see the aspects, the dimensions for video, if you want to upload a video. These are things to keep in mind because you can't upload every format on Facebook itself. All right, let me just show really quickly how we do it in our software. Mark?
Yes, so again here, what we've built is kind of a software on top of not only Facebook Ads Manager, but also Instagram, LinkedIn, to allow you to make one ad on two separate formats. And let's again start with the same example of the barista. First of all, you just type or paste your text on the left-hand side. You'll immediately see on the right-hand side how your ad will look. If you then want to add your logo or you want to add a nice picture, you can just click and look for the right picture. And what's important is that our system will then automatically put a banner on there with wanted and the function name you're looking for. So that's also going to be important that people immediately see that this is a job ad. And then if you want to go on Instagram, it will allow you to do the cropping, i.e. kind of adapting the image for the Instagram format also within our tool. So you don't need to use Canva or Photoshop or Illustrator separately. And then lastly, it will also allow you to do some easy A/B testing by adding different pictures. So that's also important. Steph will talk about that in a second, that I will know about what picture works best. You can see here, we're using a picture of a other famous barista who sadly passed away recently. So we send him all our best, wherever he might be now. But you can actually test on whether a picture versus an illustration works better, all setting it up within our tool, and our tool will start doing the testing automatically. There was another question before we go on, Steph, from Karen. What are tips for small companies where you don't have to recruit a lot of people, i.e. one or two every couple of months? Is it worth to do Facebook advertising?
It's definitely worth to do Facebook advertising.
Right answer.
Well, for Facebook, and this is the good thing about Facebook, you don't have to spend much money to get applicants. It's all depends on how good your advertising is, on how good your pictures are, how attractive it is for your audience. So every small company can do advertisement on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and if I can maybe add to that, and I'm really hoping that this is something you haven't said yet, but I think you haven't. If we look at, because, of all the campaigns we've running, the brand awareness or how big your brand is actually not really an important factor in getting people to apply. What is important is the way you set up your campaign. And what too many companies still do is actually talk about how fantastic they are and what they're doing. But you should build your ad and saying, what's in it for the candidate? And sometimes as a smaller company, you have some very good arguments why people who currently, I'm going to take an example, why people are currently a barista at Starbucks might want to come to your small coffee shop because they get a better training, or they can choose their hours, or they don't have to work on Sundays. All these benefits you can easily package in your campaign, and that's what makes people click. Not how strong your brand is, or whether you're a small SME, small or medium enterprise, or a large company. What can you have for the candidate? And that's the importance on how building a strong campaign, which I think is a different webinar.
Yeah.
But I kind of gave away some of the content of that webinar already. But you could still go and look at that webinar. There's even more information than just that.
Yes.
And another follow-up question from Alexandra. Have you recruited blue collars, so technical production people, and you have any tips in setting up the audience?
Yeah. Well, we've already done some technical profiles. We've done lots of technical profiles for small companies and for larger companies. I can't really say okay, this is working really well. What we saw is that technical profiles are more on Instagram than on Facebook. but there are some exceptions. So I think you should test everything. I mean, if you have some nice pictures, if you have maybe a video, just throw it into Facebook Ads Manager, and after a couple of days, you will already see which one is working best for your audience. Then concerning the audience, if you already have installed the Facebook Pixel, which I will come back to it later.
Not in this webinar.
In this webinar.
Stay tuned.
Yes. Then you can build audiences through that pixel, because the Facebook Pixel gathers lots of data and send it back to Facebook. So you can build audiences with the Facebook Pixel. You can also look at the interests in Facebook, or you can use our simple software to easily target, technical profiles.
All right, good.
Okay.
But let's talk about testing now.
Yes. What we do, and I hope you already know, we love testing, and we always do A/B tests. And what are A/B tests? Well, it's actually a test that you run and you only change one variable. So here you can see that we use a different picture, but we used the same copy, we use the same call to action, same job function, a same logo, etc. But only the picture is different. And let's do a poll to see in the audience, which one do you think that worked the best?
So it's left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's obviously left in the way you're looking at your screen. Interesting. It's a tight race between both. But so the winner by only 2 percentage points is the picture on the left.
Okay, so let's see at the results. You were right. The picture on the left.
but some of you were also wrong.
Yeah.
46% actually.
So if you launch 2 pictures at the same time, then after a couple of days, you will immediately see the results coming in. And here you see that the picture on the left had more applications for a cheaper cost per application. So the one on the left worked better. And of course, we put our budgets on the one on the left, and we put the advertising on the right offline. But this is important to know, because like Mark already said, you can think about what you think that is working best, but just put it live in Ads Manager and you will see the results coming in. And you will immediately see why the one on the left is working better, because the picture was more attractive for the audience, apparently.
Okay, and again, we won't really go into cost per application, how you can calculate that. We have another webinar, which is called Data-Driven Recruitment, I think, which is also online on our website. We'll pass the link later, where we go really deep in how to calculate the ratios and how to learn from that.
Yes.
Okay. So there's actually 2 questions, but they're quite similar, so I'm going to take them together.
Yeah.
There's another question from Mark on, can you recruit independent people? Or a question from Yo, can you recruit for pharmaceutical companies? And maybe to give a more general answer to that, what we've noticed is that the cutoff point seems to be those people or those functions which have gotten used to getting 5 calls a day from a headhunter, right? Those people, they know they're in demand. They will not click anymore on job advertising unless, and I'll come back to a certain caveat on that. I'll give a clear example. We've worked for a legal company. They looked for tax lawyers. We found them, right? We built a campaign, and we actually had quite a couple of tax lawyers that applied, and they were hired. That same company then asked us to look for a senior corporate lawyer. We had some reservations, but a client really wanted to continue. That didn't work at all, right? And we had some couple of other examples also. The only exception is IT people. It's clear it's going to be very difficult to reach IT people unless you have a very strong story to tell. One of our customers is Bioelectric. They are active in sustainability, green energy, etc. We've done some campaigns for them for IT people. And because we have a really strong story to tell, that's working well. But if the only thing you can tell to IT people, look, we're looking for IT people, and we work hard, play hard, boring, right? Because everybody says the same. Nobody's going to click on that. So that's really, I think, the cutoff point. Think about, do you need a headhunter, right? And if not, I think actually just test on Facebook. We've done technical functions. We've worked for Pfizer, pharmaceutical companies. We've worked for targeting independent people. I think for franchisees, we've used it for Tom & Co. So yes, so there's a lot of differences and different functions, levels, experiences you can use this for.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next to A/B test pictures, you can also A/B test videos. And here you can see some examples of our clients. We've made the videos here ourselves, and you can see that they take up the whole mobile. And this is also important if you put advertisement live. About more than half of the people that apply with us on Facebook and Instagram, they apply through mobile. So it is important that you take up the whole screen. So if people are scrolling on Facebook and Instagram, that you really pop out with your vacancy ad, with your video. And of course, the first 3 seconds of your video are the most important one, because people are scrolling and you need to attract them immediately. So they stop and they watch your video, and then of course they apply on your vacancy page. All right. So these are all the things that you need to keep in mind before you can actually set up your campaign. And I'm not going live into Facebook Ads Manager to show you how you build your campaign there. We've done another workshop about that. You can find it on our website.
People are going to think that we are professional webinar makers, which
we
not.
are.
But we mainly do software.
Yes. Okay. But it is important to know what the campaign components are and what you have to select in Facebook Ads Manager. So let me show you really quickly. The first one is a campaign level, and there you have to choose your objective. I'm coming back to the question that there was about the campaign objective. So if you want to have as much as visits possible on your vacancy page, then you're going to choose traffic, because then Facebook will optimize to have as many clicks as possible in your audience. If you're going to choose conversion, then you're going to optimize for the most conversions that you want. And well, what we do at Simple, we always choose conversion as an objective, but it is important to keep in mind that the Facebook algorithm works only good if you have at least 50 conversions a week, which is a lot to have for a job vacancy. So there you have to choose, in the campaign level, you have to choose the objective. Under the campaign level, you have the ad set level, and there you have to set up your audience, which we already discussed. You have to choose your channels because, of course, Facebook will automatically recommend to choose all the channels of Facebook. So Facebook feed, Messenger inbox, Instagram stories, audience networks, applications, etc., etc. But what we recommend is to A/B test it. If you want to use Instagram feed and Facebook feed, then make different ad sets for each platforms to see which one is working best for your audience. And then the last thing that you need to select in the ad set level is your budget, but I will come back to that in a few minutes. Then under the ad set level, you have the advertisement itself. This is what people will see on their Facebook and on their Instagram. This year, you have to write a copy, the call to action, and you have to upload your visuals or your video if you have a video. Now, what defines the costs of a recruitment campaign, of a campaign as a whole on Facebook? Well, there are 3 different things to keep in mind. And the first one is bidding. Like I already said, Facebook is a bidding platform, and you have to know what are you willing to pay for your advertisement. You can choose for a daily budget or a lifetime budget. And what is also important is you can set up a cost cap. So for example, you can say to Facebook, like, well, you can set it up in Facebook Ads Manager. You can't really
can't talk.
You can't phone him.
Mark, hey, how are you doing?
But you can set up a cost cap. So for example, if you choose as an objective of your campaign traffic, then you can say to Facebook, like, okay, I want to pay maximum 30, let's say €1 per click. And then Facebook will not will not go over the limit that you've just set up as a cost cap. This is important to know, that because of course you want to have the best results for the media budget that you're planning to pay on Facebook and Instagram.
But maybe just to enlighten that,
Yeah.
because if you put a cost cap per click, right, that's really going to limit your reach.
Yeah.
If you have no idea what that cost might be, right? So Facebook is never going to tell you, wait, this is too low. You'll just notice that your campaigns won't work. So you'll have to experiment also a bit with, do you want to put the cost cap per click or lifetime on the total of your campaign? Because every decision you make at pricing level will have an impact on how many people you can reach. So it's not like magic where you'll say, look, I pay 10 cents per click and people will start rolling in. If you're going to be paid 10 cents per click, you won't get anybody, right? Because there will be people bidding more than that, and you will be kind of outperforming for your campaign.
Yeah, and you also have to give the algorithm of Facebook a bit of freedom.
Yeah.
You don't want to limit it too much. And what is important, I want to repeat that once again, you're bidding against the competition of your audience and not the competition of your company. The second one, what also will define your cost, are the estimated action rates. And what is this? This is a bit of a black box of Facebook, but Facebook will also look at the performance of your campaigns that you've run in the past, but it will also look at the performance of your Facebook page. It will look at the time that you respond to people when they ask something into Messenger. So these are all actions that people take on your Facebook page, on your with your advertisement as well. And Facebook gives you a rating, but unfortunately, this rating isn't known. So it's a bit of a black box, but it's important to keep in mind that there are lots of things that Facebook will also keep in mind to define the cost of your advertisements. And then the third one, and this is of course a really important one, you have to give the audience, the users of Facebook, some value. Because of course, Facebook wants to keep a balance between, okay, I want to give the best user experience to the people that use Facebook and Instagram, but I will also give some advertising space for companies. But there needs to be a balance. If your advertisement isn't attractive, if it doesn't give value to your audience, then of course your cost will go up. All right. Some more questions, or is
Yes,
everything
there is
clear?
actually a good point I wanted to wait here.
Yeah.
Question from Karen is, my company hasn't invested in their webpage or in Facebook. Is it best to start with updating with industrial projects? I'm assuming that's your business, Karen. We worked on before starting advertising.
Yes, if you want to run advertisements on Facebook and Instagram, then I would recommend to have a website, because you want to send them to a certain platform. And you also have to have a Facebook page, because otherwise you can't set up your Facebook ad account in the Facebook Business Manager platform.
Yeah. What's important though is that actually the only page on your website that is important is the page where people will land and the page they will see once they clicked on your advertising. You don't want them to be sending them all over your website, because the more people click away, means they will not come back to the vacancy. So keep that page clean, simple, and just give the information maybe on the projects you worked on. And then again, shameless plug for self-promotion. If you use our software, you don't even need a website or a Facebook page, because our software will do the whole setup on that. But that's just another opportunity if you don't want to do it yourself.
Yes. All right. Now, how much budget do you need to provide or foreseen for to do Facebook campaigns? Well, we at Simple, we've generated a financial Facebook formula, also known as the FFF here internally. And there are 3 questions that you need to answer, and then the financial Facebook formula will calculate the budget that you need to foresee for successful Facebook campaigns. Mark will send you the link in the chat so you can have a look at it. But there are 3 questions. So the first one is, how many applicants do you think you need to come to a hire? that you need to answer. The second one is, what do you think that the conversion will be on your vacancy page? Here you can see an example of it. So for example, if you have 1,250 visitors on your vacancy and you have 50 applications, then you have a conversion rate of 4%. This 4% is really high, but you need to keep in mind if all those 50 applications are qualitative, because it can be that people apply that are totally off target for your vacancy. And the third question that you need to answer is, what is the conversion of your Facebook ad? What you think that the conversion will be? Do you have attractive pictures? And the conversion rate will be higher, the click-through rate will be higher. If you have a nice package, if you have really something to attract people, to say like what's in it for the candidates, then your conversion of your Facebook ad will be, of course, higher. But I would recommend to take a look at it and to play around with it.
And it's actually, there's a question from Mark, what's the average cost for a good campaign? We've tried to explain that here. Maybe just as a rule of thumb, we think if you're not willing to spend 30 to 40 euros per day, right, on a campaign, you probably should reconsider whether this is the right approach for you. Because you need a bit of space, you need a bit of money to do some testing, right? So I think that's as a rule of thumb, think about 30 to 40 euros per day. So 10 days is 400 euros for a campaign. And probably on 10 days, you will get a good understanding on, is this working for me? Yes or no? Maybe 10 days is a bit too little. Let's say 15 days. Let's say 15 days. So it's about 600 euros that you should foresee, depending on what will come out of the Facebook financial Facebook formula. But that's the rule of thumb I would give.
All right. Now, what I already told you, Facebook loves data, and so do we. But you need to have some technical setup to measure all these data points. And the first one is you have to set up the Facebook pixel. And let's just launch a poll again to see who already installed the Facebook pixel on their website.
And for clarity's sake, the polls are on the right-hand tab. You need to click on polls to see the poll, because some people are voting in the chat, which is fine. We won't hold that against you. But unfortunately, we can't count that in the results. So, all right, we have a captive audience. About 60% have never heard of the Facebook pixel, so you can't skip this slide, Steph.
Okay.
You'll have to explain it. And about 7% have actually installed it.
Okay, cool. So the Facebook pixel is actually a piece of code that you install on your website. And then it will capture all the data points that the visitor takes on your website. It is totally GDPR approved, but of course you need to make it clear in your privacy policy of your website that you're using the Facebook pixel to track all these data points. Now, I'm not going to go into detail how you have to install it, because it is some technical setup. But I would recommend to have a look on our white paper, which we've written about data-driven recruitment, and there you can find the basic steps on how to install the Facebook pixel. Now, why is this so important? Well, the first one is you can do retargeting. And what is this? Well, for example, if people are scrolling on Facebook and Instagram and they click to come to your vacancy page on your website and they think, oh, I don't have time to apply now, or I'm busy or whatever, then you can retarget these people and you can show them again your advertisement for your vacancy. So this is the first thing that is really important, what you can do with the Facebook pixel. The second one is you can track conversions. This is also a bit of technical setup. So for example, what we do at Simple is when people come to our vacancy page and then they can apply via an interactive chatbot, they have to fill in some questions. And after they filled in the questionnaire, they come to a thank you page. And on this thank you page, the Facebook pixel is fired. And this data is sent back to Facebook to actually immediately optimize the campaigns to have as much as conversions that the Facebook algorithm can give you. Then the third one is you can also build audiences with the Facebook pixel. And what is so powerful of Facebook is that once you've defined your target audience, you can make lookalike audiences of this specific audience. And what is a lookalike audience? Well, it's a similar audience of your custom audience, of your defined target audience, but it's just to broaden, to reach more people to see your advertisements. So this is really powerful, but it is important that you install a Facebook pixel first and that you gather data to build these audiences. All right. Then some other useful tools that we use at Simple is the first one, Google Analytics. Google Analytics is also a piece of code that you need to install on your website, and then you can track all the things that visitors do on your website. You can see on which pages they click. You can see how long they are staying, on which buttons they click. So it can give you some more insights about everything concerning your website. The second one useful tool is Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is a platform where you can install the Facebook pixel, where you can install Google Analytics, where you can install all the events and conversions that people take in your Facebook campaign or on your website. This is also a bit of technical setup. I would recommend to read the white paper about this. But it is easy, but you need to have some understanding on how to do it.
Not really easy.
It's not really easy, no.
All right. I will do a poll if you can guess what the company is behind the third tool we're going to be proposing. Yes, it's Google.
Yeah. What also is important to keep in mind, all these tools are free. So please take a look at them to see if it's interesting for you. The third one is Google Data Studio, and Google Data Studio is actually a platform where you can build and customize funnels, where you can build graphs with all data that you gather from Google Analytics, from the Facebook pixel, to build customized dashboards. All right.
Okay, before you go on,
Yes.
there's a question from Karen. Can you also do this when you don't govern your company's site yourself, i.e. external company? No, you can't, Karen. You need access to the website of the company to install this software. So that's actually it. Indeed, you need to be able to kind of get access, which is actually, and I'm not promoting our software, but that is one of the reasons why we actually do everything within our software, because we know this for a lot of customers, a lot of our clients in HR. They have difficulties convincing the IT department of actually putting some tags or putting some pixels on the website for good or bad reasons. I'll leave that in the middle. But if you don't have access, you'll probably need another tool, like, for instance, Simple to do that. And there's a question from Jan on, can you make the campaign for us? What would be the cost of that? Yes, we can. I didn't even know that sounded like the former president. The cost of, so we have two options. Either you just use our software and do everything ourselves, then the cost is 340 euros per month. And if you want us to make your campaign, there's an extra cost of 2,000 euros per campaign. Yeah? But I'll send you a little email with the details on that. And that seamlessly moves us onto the part of our software.
Yes. So I know it's a lot to install all those things. And what we've done at Simple is we've built a software so everyone can easily set up a recruitment campaign on Facebook and Instagram without having marketing know-how, without having a website, the Facebook pixel, everything we cover in our software. And Mark will go live.
Yes, I'll just share my screen here to show that, because we're very proud of this. I'll just continue with the same example for the barista. So what you can see here is we're going to really help you with checklists on telling you what you should be doing, creating your profile, setting up your advertising. We've shown this already. You can choose Instagram, which format, stories, up to you. You can make your own vacancy page within the same environment. So again, you don't need your own website or webpage to do that. You can set up the chatbot, because we work with a chatbot to interview automatically candidates that apply. And also, very importantly, you can also manage your candidates within the software. So everybody who applies actually will be visible here. You can then click on them. You can see the answers they gave in the chatbot. You can email them. I'll just show you here. So this shows you the answers they gave in the chatbot. You can mail them, you can call them, you can take notes. So it's really a one-stop shop for setting up your campaign, managing your campaign, managing your candidates, and even you can actually also have full transparency on your budget, look at which ads are working, which are put on inactive by our algorithm. So our algorithm will actually completely manage the flow to the A/B testing, set up the campaign based on your input. So that's kind of the unique aspect of our tool. On that, you just give us the information, and our tool will do the hard work in the background. And again, you can also do this yourself. So let's make it very clear. The only advantage, or one advantage you have here, is that it's going to be a lot easier using our tool. And secondly, you have the power of our algorithm, of our targeting data that you can use. Good. That's it from me. Let's go back to Steph.
Yes. All right. So here you can find once again all I can see that the screen is not.
Are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
But you're sharing. Well, it's
just okay.
Do I need to stop sharing? Am I doing something wrong? It's probably me, people.
Wait, let me just do it again. There you go. Oh, sorry.
Share screen.
There you go. Yes.
That's it.
All right.
No need to put on the glasses.
Yes. So here you can see why you should, what are the advantages of using our software, but I guess Mark already explained to you.
Not as eloquently as you would have done, but there you go.
All right. Are there any more questions concerning this webinar or concerning our software? You can still ask them in the chat.
And I'll just, I'll put a link, I forgot that, I'll put a link to a free trial of our software.
Yes.
In the, let me check here.
So you can register for free for our software, and there you can also find on the left at the bottom you can find the Simple Academy, and there you can find all our resources as well, all our white papers that we've written, all the webinars that we already give. You can find the recordings over there, but registration is for free. So you can look at the resources over there, but you can also set up a campaign. And if you set up a campaign before next Tuesday, then we will give 50 euros media budget extra for your recruitment campaign.
I always shake a bit when I hear we're giving away money, but there you go. Yes. That's how much we trust our tool, that it will convince you to use it in the future.
Also, we're doing every week, we're hosting a webinar, and you will get an email after this webinar with the recordings, with the link to our software as well to register for the resources or to set up your first recruitment campaign. And if you refer other people in HR that you know, then you have the chance to win a one-on-one meeting with one of our recruitment experts, recruitment campaign experts.
Which I just launched a poll also, just to check whether you thought this was useful, and also to give it an idea on other subjects you would like to be discussed in these webinars. So if you want to vote on that, that's on the right-hand side again with the polls. 100% of people think it was useful. That's very nice to hear.
Thank you.
Let's just check in the chat whether there's more questions.
Yes.
Ellen asks, sorry, no, There's a question from Karen. Do we work for Adecco Belgium or the Netherlands? We work for a couple of staffing agencies, Karen, but not yet Adecco. So if you want to set it up, I'll send you an email. But about 10% of our customers are recruiters or staffing agencies.
Yes. If you still have some more questions the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks, please don't hesitate to ask us. You can send us an email. You can send us a private message on LinkedIn. Take a look at our simple page on LinkedIn as well, because we're launching there new white papers, new webinars, etc. But if you need any help with something concerning online recruitment, of course, then we're really happy to help you.
Or any other questions related to recruitment.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, so sorry, Ellen. I didn't know you worked for Daus, but we also don't work for Daus. It's not that one. Okay, that's it from our end.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us. You were a really nice audience with lots of questions, which we always love. And I hope to see you again in one of our next webinars or anywhere else. All right, bye. Have a nice afternoon.